guys, so I guess I am going to try to give you a brief introduction to Excel as in a class of 36 students. I was quite astounded that that only about 5 people have used or use Excel. I guess it is such a core program in any kind of technical field that I assumed I made an incorrect assumption. So what I'm going to do is just give you a brief introduction to Excel. So this is Excel. You start it by clicking on the little Excel icon, right? And it starts up, and it looks like this when it starts. So very quickly, these are called cells. Each individual piece is called a cell. This is a column. If you click on the number, it highlights the entire column. This is a row. If you highlight the number, it highlights an entire row. Okay? If you click and hold, you can highlight selected cells. If you click and hold diagonally, you can highlight an entire area of cells. Okay? So that's just click, hold, drag, or click on these goodies here. These are adjustable. So like, for example, you can put your cursor on the little line and slide it over, and now you've got a really big area to type in. Okay? So I'm going to undo all of that. Put it back to normal. Okay, any questions so far? No? All right. So you can type in numbers, but when you type in a number, for example, let's say I type in 125, okay? If you type in a number, you cannot put any spaces in front or behind it, okay? The number has to be a pure number. If you type in words, say you type in space W-O-R-D space, right? It doesn't care, all right? So when you type in numbers, do not change that. All right, so I'm going to undo both of those bad boys. So one of the things that I usually do when I start Excel is I take my first 2 columns and I highlight both of them, and I squeeze them down to leave a little room at this end. Okay, that way my numbers and stuff aren't running right up against the edge of the spreadsheet. And if I need stuff, I can easily insert and remove rows there if I have to. The second thing I do is I usually take and find an area where I'm going to put text. And so, for example, one of the things that you might want to think about is taking information off of this sheet here, site area in square feet, control copy, put it over here. We'll find a cell and we'll press Control V. And there it is, site area in square feet. Now you notice that it's bigger than the cell row that it's in, right? So you can expand this over to give yourself room. I usually leave plenty of room to one side. As long as I can see some cells to one side, I'm good with that, okay? So site area in square feet. And so one of the things I would suggest is, I don't know if I gave you this. I think we gave it to you at least in a PDF format, right? Yes? No? Yeah, so in PDF you can highlight stuff and just copy it over. So like I can highlight this, control copy, put here, control V. Now, the standard editing things that you guys do know how to use Microsoft Word, right? Anybody not know how to use Word? No, everybody knows how to use Word. Okay, good. So like the same editing functions as far as like the fonts, you can pick your font size, your font type, bold, italic, underline. You can highlight a color, you can change text color. Those are all the same. This part right here is a little bit different. We'll talk about that one shortly. Okay. Anyway, so the very first thing I guess I would do is I would take all of this stuff and I would kind of put it over in here somewhere. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and start talking about typing in numbers, okay? So if I type in a number, say 100 here, right? And I type in another number here, 25, right? I can add those 2 numbers together by typing in a standard formula. Incidentally, those of you that are in the Grasshopper class are going to have to know how to do this. So you can type in a formula by pressing the equal sign. All right, all formulas will start with the equal sign, right? Or all basic formulas will start with the equal sign. And then after that, you can highlight a number, right? So notice that it says equals F5. F5 is that cell, F5. So right now we're saying equals F5, and I can press the plus sign, right? And then I can click on another cell, right? And when I press enter, it will add those two numbers together. Okay? There are 4 basic functions that you'll need to do basic arithmetic. You'll need to use the plus symbol. Oops. You will need to use the minus symbol. And I guess I should make these bigger so you guys can see them, huh? The plus symbol, a minus symbol, right? You guys will probably need to use the divide symbol. And those of you that are not used to not seeing a divide symbol, what would you think a divide symbol would be? Anybody want to take a guess? That doesn't know how to use Excel? The rest, the other 31 students? No, okay. All right. So for the divide function, what you would want to do is you would want to use a slash leaning from lower left to, lower left to upper right. Okay? So that is divide. And then finally, the last one is plus. I'm better. So add, subtract, divide, and then multiply. For multiply, you simply use an asterisk. Okay? So those are the symbols. All right, is there any questions about that? So you can use these symbols when you're doing these formulas. So for example, in this formula, right, if I click on that formula right there, it shows up in this bar right here, and I can edit it there. So for example, this formula is taking F5 and adding it to F6. If I change the plus sign to minus, it subtracts. If I click it again and I change the sign to divide, it divides it out. And then finally, if I change it to asterisk, which is multiply, it multiplies it. Okay? So very simple basic functions for adding things together. All right? So once again, you would select an open cell, you would type in equals, you would select one of the cells that you're interested in doing something with, type in one of the 4 operators, say minus, then select the next cell and press enter, and it'll show that to you. Now, if you double click on a cell that has a formula in it, it will show you the 2 cells in relationship to the formula. Okay? All right. So that's 8 minutes and 38 seconds. I'm going to stop this.